part of this conversation. Our lines will be open when the right time comes, so I invite you to tune into this live broadcast. Marie.
A very good morning to you, Mike, Vivian, and Victor, and of course to all of you joining us from across the country. My name is Marie Yambo, and Victor, my colleagues, just as you've already said, mental health issues are quite serious, especially at this point, because I think as life moves on, people are dealing with so much, but there is no health, as they say, without mental health. So it doesn't really matter how well you are, but as long as your mental health is not okay, then we cannot really say that you're okay, you know, and none of us is 100%. If you were to be asked, like Victor, you've already said, we would actually find out that there's something somewhere. I think for me the biggest challenge, Vivian, when it comes to mental health issues is acceptance. That one is a very big issue. Nobody will really accept that they're having an issue, because we kind of link mental health, mtu ni mwenda wazimu, really? That's what we say, you know, there's stigma around it. But the biggest challenge, I think, is when the person suffering doesn't even know. Sometimes it's not even that they're in denial. Sometimes they just do not know the symptoms, and they don't understand that they're actually unwell. And so if you're sick and you don't understand that you're sick, then how do you seek that help? You know, so it will be an interesting conversation that you can join in just to learn one or two in as far as mental health is concerned. And let's be our brother's keepers. Sometimes we might just miss what other people are going through. And so in the news this morning, I'll be bringing you news as far as politics is concerned, business and sports, and particularly we'll be beginning with our news where, you know, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, you know, arrested Kimani Wamatangi, that is the Kiambu governor, on corruption allegations, and also the legislators, the MPs, are complaining about the late disbursement of CDF money. I'll be bringing you details on that. But I have a question for my colleagues, Victor, Vivian, and Mike. How long would it take you to eat 25 chapatis? Because somebody was crowned as the king of, you know,
eating chapatis.
Yeah, eating
How long
chapatis.
does it?
How long
would it take you to eat about 25 chapatis?
How long would it take me to eat 25 chapatis?
Yes. How fast can you eat 25 chapatis for
I
you to be crowned
cannot
the
eat
king
25
of...
chapatis in one sitting, clearly. So that would take me around several weeks.
Several weeks.
Mnatujaribu aje na chapati.
25. Can you imagine 25?
No. We can
I'm
work
telling
on
you,
that
someone
I know
was
I love
actually
chapati,
crowned.
but
Yeah,
going past...
Yeah. So someone was actually crowned
25
as the
chapatis,
king.
that's an entire 2 kg packet?
What did you get attached?
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
25.
So just stay tuned. You'll be able to see that someone was actually crowned as the king of chapatis. I'll be bringing you details of that in just a moment. But let's begin with our first story now, where the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the EACC, on Tuesday carried out a dramatic sting operation targeting the residence and offices of Kiambu Governor, that is Kimani Wamatangi, and 8 other senior county officials. The operation follows allegations of irregular and fictitious procurement that reportedly costed Kiambu residents over 1.5 billion shillings. During the raid, officers were forced to, use tear gas to disperse crowd that attempted to block the governor's arrest. Governor Wamatangi and the implicated officials were later taken to the EACC headquarters at Integrity Center in Nairobi and recorded statements and were released pending arraignment. Our reporter, that is Abdiaziz Hashim, has the details of that.
Tuesday morning in Kiambu County. Residents and county staff woke up to shocking scenes. Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi and 8 senior county officials were arrested in a joint operation by EACC detectives.
What they have to say, but let's talk on the
The 9 are facing allegations of irregular and fictitious procurement in a scandal that saw the county lose at least 1.5 billion shillings. Detectives believe this is one of the safes used to store proceeds of the illegal dealings inside the governor's mansion. Over 12 million shillings and $13,000 were recovered during the raid. Moments later, a crowd of supporters gathered outside attempting to block the governor's arrest. Police fired tear gas canisters to disperse the crowd and clear a path for the governor's motorcade to Nairobi. At the EACC headquarters, protesters continued to demand his release as he was escorted in for questioning.
From the look of it, there are a lot of problems at the county government.
EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud confirmed that the probe centers around a contract awarded for the supply, delivery, installation, testing, training and commissioning of an enterprise resource planning ERP system. The 230 million shilling tender was awarded to MS Filtronic International Limited in the financial year 2022-2023.
To ensure that we investigate and recover assets from all public officers within the counties that are stealing money from the county governments. And you will be seeing, you have already seen actions that we've taken in the recent past. You will see actions today, and going forward, you will be seeing us charging people and also recovering assets that they have stolen. We will not allow people to keep assets they have stolen from the public, for their own use.
Governor Wamatangi has denied all charges leveled against him.
It's very unfair because governor ameshughulikia watu wote wa Kiambu.
He and other officials were released and are expected to be arraigned in court. EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud has sounded an alarm in the 47 devolved unit, with more governors also being in the radar of the anti-graft body.
And the Committee on Appointment has approved the nomination of Geoffrey Kiringa Ruku and Hannah Wendot Cheptumo for appointment as Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Gender, respectively. In its report approving the suitability, the committee, chaired by Speaker Moses Wetangula, said that the two had demonstrated a strong grasp of topical, administrative and technical matters related to their dockets. The report, which was tabled on Tuesday, is set for debate today, allowing lawmakers to express their views before a final vote is taken. Meanwhile, the Committee on Information, Communication and Innovation has approved with reservations the nomination of Stephen Isaboke as the Principal Secretary for Broadcasting. The committee wants Isaboke reassigned, citing a conflict of interest.
House approves the appointment of the following persons as Cabinet Secretaries. 1. The Honorable Geoffrey Kirenga Roku as a Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs. And 2, Mrs. Hannah Wendot Cheptumo as a Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And President William Ruto has strongly defended the Social Health Authority, urging Kenyans to ignore what he calls propaganda and embrace the new universal health care program. Speaking at the funeral of former Cabinet Minister John Koech in Olbutoyo, Chepalungu constituency, Bomet, that is in Bomet County, the President highlighted the significant progress made since the rollout of the new medical scheme. President William Ruto revealed that over 21 million Kenyans have already registered for the Social Health Authority, with 47,000 registering on Monday alone.
By registering, you are helping us to assemble the data that will help our government, national and county, to deliver on our constitutional mandate of health.
He assured that the new scheme provides enhanced medical coverage, including free treatment at dispensaries, health centers and sub-county hospitals.
SHA ndio itahakikisha kila mmoja wetu atafikiwa na usaidizi wa mambo ya matibabu.
President Ruto also addressed concerns about medical supplies, announcing an additional 10 billion shillings for KEMSA to ensure direct delivery to health facilities.
KEMSA tumewaongezea pesa karibu shilingi bilioni 10. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba kila zahanati, kila hospitali iko na dawa.
He further highlighted government's achievements in agriculture, education and infrastructure, challenging his critics to offer alternative solutions.
Kilimo nimerekebisha. Chai inalipa better. Kahawa inalipa better. Fertilizer nimeteremsha chini. So wale wanaongea mambo mingi wajitayarishe kwa hii mtihani. Wasiongee tu hivi. They must have a plan, and that plan must be better than mine. Lakini kama ni kuongea tu hii kelele, watazama asubuhi na mapema. So
he was speaking during the burial of the late John Koech, who died on Tuesday last week. John Koech served as Member of Parliament for Chepalungu constituency for over 2 decades. He was also a member of President Daniel Arap Moi's cabinet, serving as Minister of Public Works and later as the Minister for East African Regional Cooperation under President Mwai Kibaki. And lawmakers are up in arms over the continued delay in disbursement of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, that is NGCDF, and the Affirmative Fund, that is NGAF. The agitated MPs who threatened to paralyze business on Tuesday afternoon, sitting accused the Treasury of undermining CDF. But as calls to boycott parliamentary business intensified, Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Moses Wetangula, condemned the move, calling it an act of cowardice and unbecoming of leaders elected to serve. The legislators have summoned Treasury Cabinet Secretary, that is John Mbadi, to the National Assembly today afternoon to prove the delay.
And the Affirmative Action Fund, NGAF, accusing the National Treasury of frustrating development at the grassroots.
So, Mr. Speaker, we are saying this afternoon, order number 1 is the CDF and GAV. Order number 2, CDF and GAV.
Let us suspend everything else, members. Yes. Let us suspend everything else until the question of Kera, Kura, let's adjourn, CDF is sorted out. No more business.
And we are very concerned as members of parliament because we thought when we get one of our own sitting in that space that things will be better. But it looks like things are getting worse.
According to the lawmakers who on Tuesday afternoon threatened to paralyze parliamentary business, key projects across constituencies, especially in education and infrastructure, have stalled, with thousands of needy students yet to have bursaries.
The NGCDF is a great concern for the country. As a house, the attention should actually be driven to the devolved funds that are going to counties, Mr. Speaker. We are speaking at a time when NGCDF is under attack from very many quarters, Mr. Speaker.
But their retaliatory threats to boycott parliamentary business riled the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, who condemned the move, calling it an act of cowardice and unbecoming of leaders elected to serve.
As a house, you have impeached a minister, you have impeached a deputy president, you have powers in your hands. How do you run away from your own house? This is the big question. So I want to ask you, give the House an opportunity tomorrow to listen to a response.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi is expected at the National Assembly tomorrow afternoon to address their concerns.
He's coming here tomorrow. He'd rather come here after he's disbursed money to our accounts and come here with whatever evidence to show that that money has gone there. Failure to which, Mr. Speaker, will hold him hostage here until that is done.
And the National Assembly is on the spot for defunding the cash transfer program for the elderly. Social Protection Principal Secretary, that is Joseph Motari, while appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Implementation, said that last month's disbursement of funds to the elderly persons had been delayed by failure to allocate funds in the supplementary budget. The defunding comes even as as the Parliament that is lowered the required age for beneficiaries from 70 years to 65.
Alie vizuri hawa wazee. Msiwawache hivi, hata wengine wako ni disables, anaenda na anakosa. Kwa hiyo kama mnaeka ni ya M-Pesa, make sure that hawa watu kama ambao hawezi kutembea hata hiyo M-Pesa ndo wanapata mahali wamefanya nini, wamekaa. But I want to congratulate you nowadays, sasa anapata na M-Pesa, linambia juzi.
Registration of persons living with disability. We've had issues of severe disability are the ones that are being registered. And
how to rate the severe disability and this other disability has been a problem, because even people who are blind have really been complaining.
So we want, if all of them have been registered, let them get that money.
In future, once we get good funding, we should be able to make sure that we have enough wheelchairs for all the mobility tools that our people with disability need. So we will try, Mheshimiwa Chair and the honourable members, to make sure that we have enough that is quite sufficient for our people. Once we get the funds, Chair, sisi ni jembe, tutatwanga ile yote ambayo iko. But when we don't have funds, Chair, sisi tunaumia kiasi.
Now to a story that I'd highlighted earlier. How many chapatis can you eat in one sitting? Well, somebody ate 25 chapatis and was crowned the king of chapati. Let's get the details with Yusuf Farah.
There are 1,000 ways of eating a chapati. You can have it sliced and served with beans, or simply pick it page by page. Godfrey Okumu and Henry Otieno are not on your usual lunch break. The two mechanics are battling it out to determine who Busia's king of chapati is. The excited crowd appears spoiled for choice, some unable to decide which horse to back. In the end, 25 chapatis later, Godfrey emerged victorious.
Kwa ukweli leo nimeshuhudia maajabu ambayo mimi sijawahi ona. Mimi mwenyewe nikijaribu na kula chapati mbili ya tatu na zanana chini.
Some even want the president to bring the much talked about chapati machine to Busia.
Ailete tu hapa Busia, ichape hizo chapati na tutapata watu wengine wenye atatuonyesha zaidi. Leo sasa mbio ndio umepeleka tungemuongezea.
Well, this is why I say don't try this at home. So I hope you get the message. Let's look at business now, where Institute of Public Finance Senior Research Analyst Bernard Njeri is calling on government agencies to prioritize clearance of pending bills in order to stimulate economic activity that will enable businesses create more wealth and tax. Elsewhere, consultants, that is at Ernst & Young East Africa Project, are calling for measures that will widen the tax bracket to fund the 2025-2026 budget.
State agencies owe about 700 billion shillings in pending bills. A senior research analyst at Institute of Public Finance says the pending bills are causing a cash flow pressure on the private sector.
This money is owed to the private sector that we saw is struggling to repay its loans to the banking sector. So at the end of the day, the government is tying up working capital for businesses, and so also affecting economic growth at the end of it all.
Njeri says there is a need to strengthen the linkage between budget planning and execution to reduce costs for programs that are allocated funding despite their poor performance.
For those state departments that were not able or that could still achieve their KPIs with less than half of their budget absorbed, we can free those resources, and they total 6.3 billion. We can free those resources and reallocate them to other critical programs.
In their pre-budget analysis, consultants at Ernst & Young East Africa are calling for the widening of the tax bracket to boost revenue collections for funding the 2025-2026 budget.
Economic theory dictates that increase in revenue in taxes and tax rates will increase revenue collection, but it will get to that point where it cannot do it anymore. And I think as a country, and as East Africa at large, we got to that level.
Ernst & Young East Africa consultants are proposing a reduction in taxes to support businesses and to boost purchase power of consumers.
IMF
is going to be pushing. People say the IMF conditionalities are tough. They should be tough, because if they're coming in to give you a lifeline, and IMF comes in as the lender of last resort to government, they have a right to make certain demands.
I look at sports now, where the preparations for this year's 21st Sports Personality of the Year Awards SOYA, scheduled for Thursday at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, are complete. The theme for the 21st edition of the SOYA Awards will be celebrating women excellence in sports, owing to the exemplary performance by women in athletics, that is, in 2024.
Athletes will be rewarded in 11 categories during this year's SOYA Awards set for this Thursday at the KICC, including Sportswoman of the Year, Sportsman of the Year, Sportswoman with Disability, and Sportsman with Disability. Other categories are Coach of the Year, Sports Team Women, Sports Team Men, Schools Girls Team, Schools Boys Team, Schools Coach of the Year, and Hall of Fame. Double Paris Olympic Games champion Beatrice Chebet, Faith Kipyegon, and women's marathon world record holder Ruth Chepngetich are in contention for the 2024 Sports Woman of the Year award. Olympic 800-meter champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Africa light middleweight boxing champion Boniface Mugunde, and Olympic 5,000-meter silver medalist Ronald Kwemoi are among those nominated for the men's award. Paris Paralympics long jump silver medalist Samson Ojuka and World Ability Youth Games double gold medalist Michelle Chepngetich are among those nominated for the Sportsman and Sportswoman with Disability awards, respectively.
Thank you so much. That's where we end the news this morning. My name is Marie Yambo. I want to leave you with this report from my colleague, in Morocco, that is Betty Kiptum.
Hello, we are coming to you live from Marrakech in Morocco, where GTEX Africa, that is the tech exhibition, bringing together about 45,000 people who are interested in technology, who are investing in technology, and some companies from outside of Africa who are looking to invest in Africa and capture the African market. And today we have quite a number of startups here who have come to showcase what they are doing on the African continent. And one of those startups is Wabe, which has operations in Kenya. And we just want to speak to the CEO, Raul Martinez, who will be telling us exactly what Wabe does in ensuring that the underserved are receiving affordable credit. And thank you very much for joining us, Raul. Welcome to KBC. You are live on air. We'd like to just understand what Wabe does and why you decided to establish in Kenya.
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. We've launched in Kenya about 2 years ago. And we saw that there was a great need, lack of access to credit, affordable credit, and making it easy for Kenyan consumers to access, products that will help them succeed their life, buy life-changing products such as smartphones, and be able to finance it in a flexible way, use alternative data to reduce their cost of credit, and be able to really expand access to credit and improve livelihoods of those underserved.
We know that smartphone penetration in Kenya is very high. There's also a very big connectivity in the country. And I just wonder how that is helping your business.
Yeah, so definitely there is still an opportunity. Across Africa, around 50% of adults still do not own a smartphone. In Kenya, obviously, if you go to cities like Nairobi, it's probably higher. It's around 60-70%. But as you go outside of Kenya, especially in peri-urban and rural areas, that number drops. So there is connectivity already in place, but there's a big usage gap of people that either cannot afford to buy a smartphone or do not have the literate skills. So we're addressing the part of really being having affordability to buy smartphones for all of these individuals in Kenya.
And now, in terms of the credit, the CRBs, the credit referencing that you have to do, you said that you use not collateral, but alternative methods. How do you do that?
Yes, so we use data points that come from transactional data that allows us to understand even customers that probably do not have wide coverage on the credit bureau or do not have enough transactions, we use alternative data such as their usage of mobile money transactions, questionnaires, and any other types of data that we can get hold of to really use that to reduce the cost of credit and be able to offer them a better product than just having one price that fits all the consumers in the market.
Right, and you're here at JTEX Africa. I see that you're looking for funding. Please tell us more about that.
Yes, so we've launched 2 years ago. We've deployed around $4.5 million in credit. As you know, a credit business needs funds to scale, to on-lend. We've been very cautious over the past 2 years to basically prove the model that works, right? So we haven't overexpanded ourselves. Now we feel very comfortable that we have great credit performance in our portfolio and we're ready to attract capital, and that's why we're here. So we're looking to really scale this business now that it's proven that it can really be sustainable and achieve better performance than the market, but also reduce the cost of credit for Kenyan consumers.
We've seen a number of startups across the African continent. They blow up, they get all this funding, and then 2-3 years later they are shutting down or have to scale down because of maybe too fast way of scaling. How are you ensuring that you're not falling into that trap?
Yes, and I think that was from the start. That was our key strategy. Was in a lending business, it's very easy to grow, because you're giving away something for free. But the most successful businesses are those that actually get paid back successfully, right? And I think that is the key thing that we've proven, and that's why we're ready to take the next step. So we've been very careful and conscious and talking to investors in terms of how we see the business growing and what is sustainable, both for the funders, for the market, and that's why we think we're ready to scale.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your thoughts. I have been speaking with Raul Martinez, who is the CEO of Wabe. They have operations in Kenya, ensuring that the underserved are accessing affordable credit. And that is just one of the conversations we are having here at JTEX Africa. Of course, there'll be conversations around matters artificial intelligence, cyber security, the financial space, the future of the fintech as well. And so we shall be keeping up with those conversations and updating you, our viewer. But from here in Marrakesh, I hand you over back to studio. My name is Betty Kiptum.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tumejikita mizizi hapa Mathare, ambapo tumejitosa katika kilimo